Hi everyone, it's me, Ian from the Postal Hub podcast,
And Marek from Last Mile
and
Experts.
we are the Last Mile Prophets. And today, the Last Mile Prophets are delving into the controversial world of President Trump and the US Postal Service. So, I hope all of you have taken your blood pressure medication before we start this conversation. Marek, really quick summary in a headline. The president has said, I won't fund or give any emergency funding to the US Postal Service unless the Postal Service charges Amazon and the likes of Amazon more for delivering parcels. Marek, what did you first think when you read this?
Well, first of all, I thought, hey, no surprise,
Well, he
because
does like going at things like a bull at a gate, doesn't he? That's his style.
yeah, and I think part of it, of course, is to create an impression. So we don't really know what's behind it, but I think that the big issue of clearly he wants to do something, but my view is he's going about it the wrong way because, of course, you can seek to increase price, but if you have a product that is more or less a commodity, then the only thing you'll achieve is push customers elsewhere. And I think they should look more at the customer experience and the customer centric features.
Well, okay. Well, we'll start with the customer centric stuff because I was really just going to ask the question: is this just going to push all the volumes to Amazon's own delivery network? But let's just start with the customer experience first of all. What more could be done from the US Postal Service's perspective? I mean, to make the customer experience better.
Do you know what? Honestly, I think given the fact that the organization does have chronic issues with financing this very large network, the model they have is different and less attractive than a free market model in terms of posties, employees, unions, etc. So they're at I would say it will be an uphill fight from that side. But what they could do, in my view, is take a step back, make the network agnostic, make an infrastructure play, bring in customers and revenues through that network, and then seek to build upon that, maybe through investments in tech.
Yeah, yeah. Well, can I just jump in here? A quick couple of things. I mean, some would say, well, they already kind of do offer a carrier agnostic experience because they have the Parcel Select product. The problem is that they're losing Parcel Select volumes. FedEx is pulling out Parcel Select volumes. This is when, but for those of you who don't know, this is when FedEx or Amazon injects their parcels at the delivery station. So not in a sorting center or anything like that. They're injecting the parcels at the delivery station for delivery, and that's called Parcel Select. And then each of the carriers, they call it something else, but it's the same product. FedEx is pulling its volumes out. Amazon is ramping up its delivery. What's it called? The contractor network. Basically their last
DSP,
mile.
delivery service partners.
But let's say however it works out, right? Let's just say it happens. Let's just say the US Postal Service puts up its prices for Amazon and the big e-commerce players. Will that give the big e-commerce players an even greater incentive to find alternative ways to deliver parcels, and therefore the Postal Service loses volume?
Absolutely. And let's take some examples because there are two scenarios in which that happens. And if the two happen together, there's an even more powerful force. So, scenario one is the post office seeks to be king of their castle, they keep their network closed. If they do that and they add supernormal pricing, so they keep the prices higher than they should be, maybe to cover their costs, but higher than they would be because of the inefficiencies, you force people to do something else. Now, you probably wouldn't want to discuss this, but I've been to Oz recently. And in Oz, why is Hub successful, in my opinion? It's successful because the carriers have been forced to create an alternative network. And that's going to be the case, in my view, in the US. If they increase prices, keep their network semi-closed, because in the US actually isn't entirely closed.
Mm.
You do have some access to the network. So I believe what will happen is exactly that. More e-commerce players will seek to either set up their own infrastructure in some way or use a shared infrastructure, and the loser will be the USPS and the US taxpayer.
This is because at the moment UPS and FedEx are independently building their PUDO networks. So this is one key point that the US Postal Service has over anybody else. They have a post office network that just is amazing in terms of reach and presence and density and everything, right? But if you're a UPS and a FedEx, you're thinking, well, look, maybe I can benefit from this somehow. Maybe I can ramp up my own physical network or my own Plutos, lockers, and things like that. Or could I even part? I mean, with DHL, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't throw DHL into this.
Imagine, but spot on. Looking at the other video cast that we're going to have online soon, think about it even this way. What if Google was to harness all of the capability, all of the Plutos of FedEx and UPS, and maybe some large retailers and Walmart and Target, etc., and then goes in to create an alternative with a reasonable price. And remember that the really cool thing is if it goes out of home without the last mile element, in other words, the pickup is from a Pluto or a locker, the cost is significantly lower. So they could actually economically offer a price similar to what USPS or even lower is offering today. And then guess who's out in the cold? USPS.
We have to wrap this up in a minute because we've been going on a bit, but there's also the political element of it. We've seen this statement from the US president saying this is sort of setting out a bargaining position almost. What's sort of bubbling in the background is the reliance of rural Americans, and it's the same for pretty much any country, on the postal service because it's the postal operator is the only person who delivers to those country towns. So what would that mean? Let's say, taking this the next step is that the delivery costs for parcels to country America would increase because there's no competition there. So in metropolitan America, there might not be much difference. The competitors might jump in. We're just speculating here, aren't we? They might jump in, and there might not be a lot of price differential. The customer service might go up. It might go down. Who knows? But in rural America, where the delivery density is not there, what would happen? So it becomes a political question, then, doesn't it?
I would argue not necessarily, because if the rural areas and people in rural areas we know are more open to traveling a little bit, if you have a Pudo locker type setup, then e-commerce needs the price to be attractive. So I actually think rural America could benefit in a way because there will be an alternative.
So if the US Postal Service put its parcel lockers out, they actually got its act together and put out parcel lockers, not focusing on the densely inhabited suburban and metro areas, but instead put the parcel lockers out in country areas as a substitute for an economic alternative to home delivery, could be a way to...
Absolutely, either lockers or Plutos, because Plutos tend to be cheaper to set up initially, but it's the same concept.
I think we're going to be getting a lot of comments below on this video, Matic. I think plenty of people are going to weigh in with their opinion on what could happen in the US situation. So please do comment underneath this post. Let us know what you think. Are we way off the mark? Have we missed a key consideration in all of this? Will the president just ram this through? I mean, we look at how the US government took on what it perceived as inequities in what was the UPU terminal dues system. Could something happen here? I'm not comparing apples with apples, obviously, but we've seen the willingness politically to take on certain issues. Let's see. Matic, as always, people want to ask us other questions, go to slido.com. We'll put the details down here. It's probably a crawler going across one way or the other. There's a crawler that has all the details. Mark, any final comments before I hit stop?
No, I think this is just a really interesting topic, and I do hope we get questions because I'd love to do a follow-up.
So please, everybody, comment underneath, and we look forward to sharing more opinions with you soon. Marek Ruzhetsky, Last Mile Experts, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Ian. Thanks, everyone.